All right, this is on. It's working, Terry. We got tech on our side today. Yes.
Masters of technology.
Well, one
Hey,
of
let's
us
talk a
might
little
be.
technology.
Well, listen, it's so good to see you. Although I've been kind of hanging out with you for the last 4 or 5 days, but it's great to see you again, my friend.
You as well. The great time out at Long Beach at Impressions Expo, and of course you were at a show previous to that, and so you've been home for you
Yeah,
have been home for about 8 or 9 days.
it's good to be home. Let me tell you, it's good to have home cooked meals, sleeping in the your own bed, and all the normalities of being at home. So yes, it's good to be
Exactly.
home. In fact, that's why I wanted to get with you today, Terry. We got to talking while we were in Long Beach. I think most people know that we exhibited there, but in case you missed that, we in fact were there. And I've got a little. If you didn't, I wish we had some pictures. I should have showed some of the pictures, but I did share a few on Facebook. So, kids, you're welcome to go check us out on Facebook. But we just got back from the Impressions show, and I think it was a great show. Terry, what did you think?
I thought so too. Lots of folks there. Jay, it felt like pre-COVID, where people were there, just talking about, I want to expand my business, I want to build my business, I want to add to my business, and those same conversations that we used to have 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I got the same feeling. I got what I call the hungry hundreds. As you know, I was able to do. I haven't taught a session at an impression show for many years. It was great to be back, and I felt like there was that juice, right? The hungry hundreds, the ones that come the day early, and they're hanging on every word, and they can't wait to invest that into their business. So it
Right.
was fun. It was a lot of fun, and really, that's what led me to our conversation, which was, you and I have this. I don't know. I think. Maybe a gift and a curse. We really want to see people succeed in this business. We've tasted some of that sweet success, and I feel like we are trying to help business owners cut through some of the clutter and maybe filter through some of the noise. And I got this distinct feeling that a lot of people came to that show, specifically came to Long Beach, thinking about and looking for a DTF printer or a DTG printer, and they're kind of like on that fence. In fact, maybe that's what we'll title this session is. You're on the fence. Now what? I don't know. Did you pick up on that, or is it just me?
Absolutely, and to the point where Jay, we were the only other company than Epson exhibiting the new Epson 1070 F1070 DTG printer, and multiple people came up to me and said, "Oh, so this is the hybrid printer. This one does DTG and DTF." And I had to remind them, yes, all Epson's DTG printers also do DTF, and still a lot of confusion out there about that.
Yeah, it's always a little, and we're not talking down to anybody when we say that. It's us. We're not doing a good enough job getting the message to them. Quite honestly, it is surprising that most people don't, and that's true with any DTG printer. Let's expand that out.
Sure.
Quite frankly, right? I mean, you could be printing directly on a garment, or you could switch to film. I'm not an expert in those other areas. I may not be an expert in our own area, but luckily we have you and others, our amazing training and support staff who are experts. But yeah, it's always shocking when they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that."
And Jay, the Garment Creator software, which is the software that comes with the Epson DTG printers, I had somebody come up and tell me their process for doing DTF, and I'm like, there's an upgrade to the software, right? That it's a button click to do all these things that you're wanting to do, and no, I had no idea. So
Yeah.
we need to get out there and preach the message.
Yes. Well, hopefully the video we're recording right now will help. Obviously, people will listen and tune in, but I also wanted to check in on a couple of things and see if you also felt the same way. So this idea of being on the fence and this idea of which printer should I buy, we've always had that, but it seems like screen printers specifically, or I should say maybe apparel decorators specifically, they're really trying to embrace this technology now, right? Like it seemed, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like we had a little bit of a learning curve with the DTG printers, maybe a 10-year timeline of before it was really accepted. I think we might have had what, 10 months, 18 months with this, and everyone wants to jump in.
Right, exactly right. And it's interesting, Jay, because I think that, and speaking specifically to DTF printing, I think we decorators who've been doing this for a decade or two or more, I think we're kind of decorator snobs, and and I saw it all over the industry. Folks that I've known for many years in the industry were a little hands off on DTF. It doesn't look and feel like a screen print the way DTG does. And
Mhm, mhm.
I think that there was some hesitancy on the part of folks that have been in the industry for a while, but the end customer has been totally accepting of DTF prints, and they jumped over us. The customer
Good point.
jumped
Good
over
point.
us and
Yeah.
said, "No, we want this. We
Yeah.
like this." So it's decorator snobs. That's who we
Yeah,
are,
I
Jay.
like it. I don't want to admit to being one, but I guess you're right. You tagged it, you called it out. I think that too, the doors opening to so many more opportunities, both for the buyer and the decorator, them having more choices. I can think of our good friend Megan Urban, who has many school stores, online stores for schools, and well, you remember what she told us about how, by offering more styles, her sales have dramatically increased.
Right,
So
exactly. She said, when I was screen printing all this, I would offer three different graphics, and people would pick one. Now I offer nine different graphics, and people pick three or four or five to order. So she goes, every individual order is bigger now that I have the ability to say I can do one of these and one of these and one of these without much effort,
yeah,
like you would with a screen print. And screen printing for a company store, a school store, things like that's kind of tricky. So this technology is much better suited DTG and DTF printing.
yeah, that's really, she might be our perfect case history. I didn't think about that until it just like popped into my mind live right now. But these are some of the discussion points I hope we'd have in this conversation, is thinking about some of the overall benefits, thinking about how to highlight one. I don't know that you want to pick one over the other, because I don't think it's a one size fits all. And maybe that's what's causing some of this I'm on the fence. I mean, you deal with it every day. You're getting phone calls and incoming texts and messages, leads, I guess we would call them, every day about people who think they want to go down this path. Then they talk to you and they're like, oh, I should be doing this instead. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that kind of what's happening on a day in, day out basis for you?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where I try to push the conversation right at the very beginning. What is it that you want to accomplish? And I might have somebody say to me, "Well, I really want to get into DTF. Everybody's getting into DTF, but I probably don't have enough business to run the machine more than once or twice a week." And I'm like, "Okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit and let's move back over here to DTG, because at least with an Epson DTG printer, you can let that printer sit for 2 weeks and not do anything with it. With that Epson DTG printer, you can print directly into garments and get that screen print feel that I like to see, and a lot of old time decorators like to see.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to do with a button click switch to DTF, and be able to satisfy those needs as well, but without being locked into, I should probably run this printer every day. And
Mm-hmm.
and not to confuse things, with our EasyJet Pro printers, the 17-inch and 24-inch, you can leave that printer sitting for 5 or 6 days without running it. But I want to be a little more careful about that technology. It's all DTF is all new technology. We're talking what, 2.5, 3 years, Jay,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think it was a big step getting to the point where we didn't have to run the printer every day. We could go 4, 5, 6 days, but if you want to be really comfortable about it over here with a DTG printer, you're going to be in a situation where yes, you can come back 10 days from now, and let's be honest, Jay, you and I are both from the Tempe, Arizona office, and
Yes.
we are are often all gone, and our DTG printer, our 2270, and prior to that the 2100, would sit for 3 weeks and come back and just start printing shirts again. Along those lines, Epson is going to come in, and if you do have a clogging issue or something like that, Epson's going to come in 24 to 48 hours and get you back up and running, all covered under the warranty. So DTG and DTF over on this side, safe bet. DTF over here, when you're wanting to do a little bit more volume. And, Megan's a perfect example. Megan had a 2100, bought another 2100 because once she made that transition and started doing DTF transfers, the business just started flooding in. I hear it from people all the time. I can't keep up. Megan bought another 2100 and then said, okay, I probably waited a step too long to move over to an EasyJet printer that's going to give me the kind of volume that I need to service my customers with.
Yeah, that's a great point. And she's, again, the perfect example of somebody who, I mean, that's probably, let's like you said, let's break that down a little bit, because the more I think about it, that might be kind of the, I guess I would say, a common trajectory. It may not be for everybody, but it sure seems to make a lot of sense for an apparel decorator who may, certainly if you already had an F2100 or an F2270, I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, please, Terry, you deal with this more than I do, but it seems like that might be the starting point. Is if you're not sure and you're on the fence, let's make sure that the technology you currently have is, is profitable, and then let's take that and almost clone it. Really, it's kind of not fair, Terry. It's like two printers in one. It's like you can do both. Really, that's why I get so excited about it. But wouldn't you say that maybe they should, or many people, that would be a good first step, would be that F2270 DTG printer, since you could do both?
Absolutely, Jay. And I hear those exact words. I'm not sure, or I don't know if I have enough business yet, or I'm just getting started in with DTF. And so it's an easy transition to go ahead and get a printer, because let's compare. If you're jobbing out your DTF printing, you're probably paying $6, $7, $8 for a 12 by 12 transfer. And it's an easy jump to buy your own machine, because on an Epson printer, that 14 by 16 or even 16 by 20 single sheet, you're looking at maybe $1.25 to $1.50 in cost to do that. So that's an easy jump from $8 back to $1.50. And especially if you have the equipment already. Then, Jay, the other side of the coin is, I'm already buying from XYZ company, and we all know who the players are out there selling these transfers. I'm already buying from them. I'm spending $1,000. I'm spending $10,000 a month on transfers. Then those folks are already over here going, I need an EasyJet. I need a dedicated DTF printer. Now, when you're talking about cost comparisons, you're looking at, on the EasyJet 17, the EasyJet 24, the 24-inch, you're looking at 50 to 60 cents per square foot for ink, film, and adhesive. So now your price is cut in half again over here. So you're going from that $8 transfer to a 50-cent transfer. And so it just makes perfect sense for those folks that, and they're doing what I recommend to people do. Go out there and get your feet wet. Go out there and right. Contract out. I mean, I say that to everybody in my screen printing classes. If you're not ready, contract out your screen printing and until you build your customer base. But these folks have already done it with DTF. I'm spending all this money. It's time to make that transition. And sometimes it's hard for people to think, am I ready to take on the production end of it, or a new technology. But we're there to hold your hand as well. We're there to help you get started. Jay, I talk to people all the time who say to me, "Hey, I don't know anything about that," and as if like they're apologizing, like all of our other customers do. No, this is new technologies for everybody.
Or none of them were at zero ever. They somehow
right.
No, that's true.
Everybody started somewhere. In a basement, Athens, Ohio.
And he wears it like a badge of honor, as you should. I love that. Well, let's get a little specific. I thank you for that. That was exactly what I hoped would happen in these kind of conversational moments. But maybe we could go back and just let's cover. We've mentioned really three printers that I'm aware. We specifically mentioned the Epson F2270. So let's talk about that for a second. So what is the current pricing range for that printer? If someone's new and they didn't know, what's kind of
Right.
that jumping off point of that investment look like?
Sure. You're looking at 16,495 for the 2270. They're shipping regularly. They're in stock, at least at Equipment Zone. All the inks and supplies are in stock. Um, but and keep in mind, if you are going to do DTG printing, you need the printer, you need some method to pre-treat shirts. That would be our Speed Treater TX. And or you can buy shirts that are already pre-treated, and you need a heat press, or well, you're going to need a heat press anyway. Some people do use conveyor dryers. Usually, I'm going to tell people once you get your second, your third, your fourth printer, look at a conveyor dryer. But you need all three of those items. But the 2270 is. It's interesting, Jay. It's not like an upgrade from the 2100. It's a smaller version of Epson's 3070, auto leveling,
Oh, right, right. Love that.
things like that.
Yeah,
So
and the ink,
it
I remember the inks, people always rail on us a little bit. They give us a little bit of pushback and friction for the cost of the inks, but truth be told, they are slightly less. They're a little bit less, but what I like most is that they're in ink bags, they're pouches. They're no longer cartridges. So I think that's a big
exactly, and 800
improvement.
milliliters instead of 600 milliliters, and that matters in a production scenario. So
Absolutely. Okay, so that covers the Epson pretty much. I mean, people can get more specifics, obviously, on our website. And I just wanted just to kind of clarify. So we have two dedicated professional roll to roll, I guess is what we wide format DTF printers. These are dedicated systems, complete systems. We branded them as the EasyJet Pro series, and we have a 24-inch printer that's about 24 inches of media, and a 17-inch, which is obviously 17-inch media. Could you give us some pricing on those, Terry, right now, currently?
absolutely.
What's
The 17-inch printer is going to be 19,995. That's the printer, the powder shaker dryer, the complete package. And then the 24-inch is going to be 23,995. So why do we have two different ones? The 20 let me start with 70. 17-inch is going to give you about 44 square feet per hour. The 24-inch is going to give you 102 plus square feet per hour. So why wouldn't I just jump to the one that gives me more production for, a few $1,000s more dollars? But because that dryer is 43 inches wide and there's nothing to take off of it. It's 768 pounds. You're not going to put it on its side and wheel it in on a on a furniture cart. So you need a door bigger than 43 inches. A lot of our customers, either they're in storefronts, and we've had multiple customers,
Yep.
Jay, take out the storefront window, have a rigger come and take that window out, lift that printer in, and the dryer in, and then put that window back in. So we have the 17-inch because you only need a 36-inch door, and that's much more common for businesses to have a door that size to be able to get in the door. And the 17 inches 110, the 24-inch is 220. So there's some other things to consider. But if you have the space to get that dryer into your facility, you're going to get much more production from the 24-inch. And outside of that, though, the film is the same, the ink is the same, the adhesive powder is the same, the software, the CADLink software, exactly the same.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's good stuff. Thank you for clarifying that. I know we would get all of these questions, so I thought I'd just deal with them up front. And there really is a difference. So when we think about the two, it's not that one's better than the other. They just serve two different purposes.
Exactly.
And we immediately had a lot of people asking us, well, what do I do if I can't fit that big one through the door? So, and thank goodness they were asking, because we all know somebody who forgot to ask. And, they're like, what do I do now?
Well, and Jay, and let's jump back to the 17-inch. I was actually just reaching out to someone today that it's a large screen printing company. All they want to do are
Neck labels.
for
Yeah.
collars. And he
Colors.
says, I don't need 24 inches to do that. 17 is perfect for what I want to accomplish. So, all of these different machines have their place in the production world. There's no one perfect machine. There's a perfect machine for your needs.
Perfect. So I had a couple of questions in my mind, and of course we rehearsed this a little bit, but and as Terry will often tease me, when was the last time I ever stayed on script, right? So uh, but one of the things I definitely wanted to talk to you about was the learning curve. Is there a difference in the learning curves, in your opinion, from buying a new DTG printer versus buying a new DTF printer? Do you see them as dramatically different, or what's your take on that?
Yeah, I'm going to say not dramatically. I've been telling people for years that for a DTG printer and now DTG/DTF printer, that 30 to 90 days to really become very, very good at that technology. Whereas, Jay, I teach screen printing classes. I tell people you can print on Monday, but to be an expert, we're talking 3 years. I mean, there's so many variables. There's so few variables with DTG and DTF. Then when you jump over to a straight DTF printer, even fewer variables. So,
Mhm.
you're in that 30-day range of really being able to have this printer do everything you want it to do.
So you caught me off guard with that people are still wanting to learn how to screen print from you? Is that
Jay, my screen printing classes are all still full. Screen printing's going nowhere.
I love that. Listen, you know I love that. I'm teasing you. Everybody knows that
Exactly.
I pulled my first squeegee when I was about 15, 16 years old, and here I am on the island of misfit toys, and I'm kind of refused to leave. So I love
It's
it.
all but one big family, Jay. All
Yeah,
the different decoration
that's
methods.
right. That's right. One big dysfunctional
And,
family, Terry,
and Jay, along those lines, many DTG owners are screen printers,
for
but
sure.
there are times like family reunions that I've talked about 100 times on these webinars, that where they need 17 shirts and they need a
Hmm.
2.4 and they need a 4X, and for a screen printer that's just it's not
Not worth
something
it.
you can make money doing,
Yeah.
and not with those kinds of quantities and those size ranges, but perfect for DTGs. So everybody out there, nearly everybody out there, either is or should be offering multiple decoration methods for your audience.
Love that. So I would go, I would just, I'm not correcting, I'm adding to. You said that would be, in your example, the family reunion 17 shirts, that would be perfect for a DTG printer. But would it not also be perfect for a DTF printer?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, and Jay, they and let me jump over. I'm going to jump back over to the DTF. You can do multiple jobs on either of these machines. You can send to the Catalink software. I need this graphic. I need 17 of them, and I need them to be 10 inches by 12 inches. I also need the exact same image, 8 inches by 10 inches. And then
Yes,
another
I see what you're
graphic, I
saying.
need 15 of these, and the software is going to nest all these together, move them around on the film so that you get the maximum use out of that film. So, you might be running 12 different jobs at one time over here on a DTF printer that you just cut apart and heat apply.
Mhm. I love that. And it made me really get excited, especially in your conversation with somebody today when you were talking, or you made reference to a screen printer who wanted to get just the 17-inch EasyJet Pro, because all they want to do are those inside the neck labels, that kind of branding. And truth be told, that's one of the most exciting things. It seems like kind of very mundane, not sexy thing, but remember, if you can offer this to your customer so that it's their branding in the label, that's like another one. Hey, Terry, for only $1.50 more, I can put a full color label in the back of the shirt that has your branding on it. I mean,
Exactly right. That
it's
and
just
that's huge. And
huge.
Jay, I was talking to someone just in the last month when I was talking about doing neck labels and putting her logo in, and she goes, "No, no, no, I don't put my logo in. I put their logo in." And
Exactly.
think about selling to boutiques and having their name in that shirt. I'd pay $1.50 for that all day long. By the way, your cost a, a penny,
Pennies. Yeah,
maybe.
one, two, maybe. I had a very similar conversation with my friend Renya Nelson, who's at Brand Aid. She's in Salt
Sure.
Lake, and she's doing great things with her F2100. Just ran into her in Vegas. They love it. And this is what they're doing. They're offering that, but they're also able now, because of something I said, I got to take a little credit. But they're putting their own branding on hang tags that they're then like safety pinning to a sleeve so that it's removable, and it's something that will be a reminder, and it's more branding for them. So they're doing kind of the 1-2 punch. They get a little of their own branding, but it's removable. But then they're doing a lot of inside the neck labels, tags, whatever we want to call those, for their customers. So I think I mean, it's just like no brainer to me. I'm kind of, again, I feel like it's not fair. I feel like that's not cool. We used to struggle with this, and now you push a button and full color neck tags come out the other side, and then you just heat press them on for under 15 seconds. Boom, done, ready to roll. It's cool.
Press, label press, either one, wham bam.
Yeah. All right. Well, we get too excited, we get carried away, right? So let's go back. Stay on script, Jay. Stay on script. I want to talk again about. Thank you for your answer on the learning curve. That was perfect, and comparing it to screen printing is brilliant. Let's talk about. This is a big one. I think the fear. I think there's this the fear of the unknown, the fear of what we don't know always kind of makes us hesitate. When we hesitate, I don't think we're at our best, but maybe it's the lack of service horror stories that we've heard, the things online that people read about, oh, I bought this printer and then boom. What, of course, that would not happen with Equipment Zone. Hello. But it's out there. So people kind of tend to lump us all into one undesirable bag of, don't buy a DTG printer, don't buy that DTF printer. I tried it. It didn't work. What do you say to that person?
Well, I'm going to tell the Equipment Zone story, to that person because Equipment Zone's been selling garment decorating equipment for 30 plus years, and so there, Jay, you and I went to the Science Show this past year, and we were both like, "Who are these people? All these people selling DTF printers, and who is this? And who is this? I've never heard of this company." And here's my example from at the show. This is someone who called me when I was at the show to say, "Hey, I need a quote on an EasyJet. And could you get it to me today? Because my lease company has approved me and they're waiting for it." And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We haven't talked before." Well, I was buying it from someone else, and my lease company put the brakes on and said, "Hold on. We're not sending money to this company that's been in business less than a year selling DTF printers." Well, guess
Ooh.
what? Neither would I. It would make me very hesitant because, new technology, new vendors, new vendors. And you know what? One or two of those vendors, we're going to start seeing at all the shows. Some of them we're not going to ever see again.
Hey,
So,
I was just going to say there were a few that weren't there at the impression show, like people we saw in April of 2023, not there in January of 2024.
Jay, at the Atlantic City show last year, there was an empty booth, caddy corner from us, and we're kind of trade show nerds. You got to have this done by this time and this done by this time. We keep looking over, going, "Where are those guys?"
Yeah.
Come to find out, it was a DTF company that had gone out of business the previous Tuesday. They had their booth booked. There was electricity hanging in the booth, and they were gone.
Listen,
Less than a
and,
year in business and disappeared.
we don't wish that on anybody. We're we're
No, of
we're just
course not.
trying to make, of course not. We're just trying to make the point that that is why, we of course we still have to make our case. And our case, like to your point, is that the experience matters, the longevity matters, the fact that we have a tremendous tech team and training team. We're not saying we're perfect. We drop the ball occasionally, and it drives us all crazy. But we're going to pick up the ball. We're still going to call you back. We're still going to, follow through. We're still here. We still have office in Arizona, office in New Jersey. We're covering the time zones for about 12 hours a day. So to me, it seems like, an obvious choice, and there would be others on the list, but clearly that's why I love to tell our stories, because I do think we have some points of differentiation, and can be proud about that we haven't, we didn't start 2 years ago, you know.
Right. Jay, I, being a trade show person, people like we are,
Does that
I,
mean you're from the folks that go to carnivals? Are you a carny? Is that what I just heard
we're
you say?
carnies, man. That's just what we are, show to show. But I've had people come up and say, "Man, I talked to you last year, and I talked to you the year before. I'm not quite ready." And I always say, "That's okay. I'm going to be here next year too." And I think that says something about Equipment Zone. It's I've certainly known Equipment Zone long before I ever worked with the company. So
Yeah, same. Totally. That's a true story. I knew Harry. I knew that you were already at the Equipment Zone, and that was one of the reasons that I felt very comfortable having discussions with Harry. But let's get back to this online stories, the scary stuff, the I heard this. If you were a new buyer and you were, freaking yourself out with all the garbage you're reading. By the way, Terry does a tremendous service to the industry, and he has a session that he often teaches it, and it's pretty much, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the title is, everything you've read online is wrong.
about DT.
Unless you said it. Unless you said it, Terry.
That's my second slide because someone raised their hand and said, your session says everything you hear online about DTG and DTF printing is wrong, but you're online. So my next slide says almost everything.
Almost everything. Okay. Okay. So almost everything you read, but there are a lot of horror stories out there. There are some people who've really struggled. They made poor decisions, or the companies didn't give them the support. They thought it would be easy, and it wasn't easy. What could we tell the new buyer? What could we share that would be educational or informational? Or are there any insights that you could give somebody who's a new buyer? What should they look out for, maybe?
Jay, the thing that I would do, and this is a lot of money for a lot of people, and sometimes it's my life savings I'm investing in this business I'm starting. Do your research. Don't send that wire. Don't hand over that credit card until you find out a little bit something about the company. And the biggie for me is ongoing support. Can I call you and will you help me? And this. Again, DTG printing is less than 20 years old. That's new technology. DTF printing is in its infancy. So you're not going to go out there and hire somebody that has DTF experience. You're gonna have to depend on the people you buy from to help you get rolling, to answer those questions, and I'm trying to print yellow and it looks athletic gold. Somebody that can help you with real world issues that you're running into, and our techs, if they are not on the phone with somebody, they are running machines, they are doing
That's
testing.
I
Companies
love that.
even talk to you about, we test their garments for them on our equipment, on the Epson equipment, on the EasyJet equipment. So it's and our techs are just as dedicated as you and I are to people being successful, and
Right.
it's not so, yeah, you'll come back and buy another machine. I would love to come back and buy another machine from us, but we sincerely want people to be successful in this industry. It's an awesome industry, and we want everybody to be a part of it, and not have a poor experience on the front end, but do your homework. I mean, how many times, Jay, have we had someone say, "I wish I had found you guys first,"
Yeah.
and yeah, we all wish that.
Yes, we do, and the owners wish that. Harry Oster, the president of the company, wishes that. Absolutely, we do, and it always feels like, I always feel that little sting of, I'm the marketing guy. If I'd only gotten that message to you sooner. Um,
But at the last show, we had someone come up and they had bought some equipment from us, but I had warned him about a piece of equipment that he was going to buy, and I said, just go online and research this before you buy it. If you're not going to buy it from me, just go and talk to some people who have this equipment, please. And he said, so Terry, from now on, you can say I told you so, because you were so right and I made a mistake and I did not do that. I
oh
didn't call,
no.
I didn't research anything.
Uh,
And So let's talk equipment.
Yeah. Well, yeah, now they're ready. Well, listen, Terry, I know you got 1,000 things to do. I just want to first thank you, but we've talked about the cost of the printers. We talked about, when is it the right move maybe to invest in that. We've talked a lot about, doing your own transfers or, figuring out if you have enough business to do that. All the things we've talked about, the difference in the learning curves, the service and support and training both before, during, and after the sale. Is there anything else you want to add to this, to today's session? Any bits of wisdom? Any other? Maybe we've covered it all, but I just want to give it to you. Get the final word, is what I'm saying.
Well, I do want people, if you're trying to do DDF transfers on new substrates, we have some recommendations. You're welcome to talk to our technicians. But from polyesters to everything, Jay, and I always tease you that if it will lay flat in a heat press, you have put a DTF transfer on it.
It's true. Look, I was playing with a new one today. I got a new batch of koozies to test. There's a difference between foam and the polypropylene and the neoprene. There's differences for all of those.
Exactly right, and so we're trying to compile a list of temperatures and times and any pro tips on doing those things. So reach out to us if you have questions about anything in this process, and we're happy to help you.
Yeah, and on that note, Terry, you can also, if you are an Epson F2100, well, really, truth be told, an F2000. There's a few of them out there still. Still cranking,
Sure.
still cranking, F2000, F2100, or F2270 Epson DTG owner, give us a call. If you're not sure, our tech team will be happy to at least, point you in the right direction, give you the help if we can, of course. Just go online. You can see it on the screen right now. Fill out that support tech ticket. Tell them what machine you got. We're not interested in where you bought it. We're interested in that you see some success from it. And sometimes it's not good news, but you'd rather know, right? So, and hopefully it is good news that it's not a major issue. But our technical support team is there for you. We almost always get back to you the same day. If not, it's almost always the next day. So when possible, start there. Terry, anything to add to our tech team?
Well, absolutely. If you did buy your Epson DTG printer elsewhere, we do also offer paid training, the same training that if you buy from us that you get for free, but we do offer paid training, which is something that our techs do every single week for folks that didn't quite get the training or the support they feel like that they needed to get going. And so we're there to do that for you as well. But if you own one of those Epson printers, you didn't have to buy it from us. You can reach out to us and we will offer you support.
Yeah, that's also really helpful if you have a new employee, new hire, and all of that education and training just walked out the door to go do something else. It might be a good idea to hire us for a couple of hours. I think it's usually 4 to 6 hours depending on what the person needs. It's done through Zoom. It's one-to-one. We have cameras. Hopefully you'll have a camera and you can, really get in depth and get that person trained up. So highly recommend that. And we get so many people that are so grateful for that. Our the Love Fest on our Facebook page and in our forum, we have a private group for owners and operators. It's look, again, not perfect, not making that claim, but it's been amazing to see how many people I've seen the before and the afters. Let me put it to you that way. I've seen so many people who said this is what I was doing before. I got, whether it's John or Sophia or Roy or any of the other techs. I tuned in 4 hours later. Look at this, and it's literally night and day. And they are so jacked up about their business again. I love it. I love it. I get excited just thinking about it. But I also want to share this. Our events page. We're always doing some webinars. We've got some upcoming training. Got one coming up with Kelly Walters from Stalls. We're going to talk about DTF transfers and hats, of course. And also, if anyone wants to reach out, if Amy's available as well, even though Terry's the guy that you see on that screen right now. If you want to reach out, that's all of our key contact info. So other than that, Terry, I think we're done unless you've got a final goodbye or final point to make.
No, just reach out if you have questions, and we're always happy to help. And look, it was fun to getting together and hashing this out, Jay.
Yeah, same. I loved it. It's funny. We were hanging out in Long Beach and this came to mind and I was like, we know what, we should just do a video on this. So appreciate your time, and I know people will find this valuable. And so thank you again, Terry. We'll see everybody soon. Pay attention to our events page, tech support page, or reach out to Terry or Amy if you need anything and you're ready to get that second printer. Terry's excited about that.
All
All right,
goodbye.
Terry, I'll talk to you later.